home for Florida football.
Coverage starts Saturday at 2. Kickoff at 2:30. A near spot for the Florida Gators on the Gulf Coast. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Pound the like and crush the subscribe. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson is live on YouTube. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget to call in, text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. We're kicking it on a Tuesday here with Jeffrey and the Bone Crusher, and we've got Taylor Devers from Norvell Central Chop Chat on the phone line. You know, I am still worked up over this whole time thing. I cannot believe that. Maybe I need to send an email to Mike Norvell or to Gus Malzahn or to Tony White, whoever, maybe the president of the university, because I tell you what, Bobby Bowden would have never done that. Jimbo Fisher would have never done that. Nick Saban wouldn't have done that. I just don't understand it. Did anybody even ask them the question about that, or has this kind of just been pushed under the rug?
No, it's just been pushed under the rug, and the problem is, too, Florida State's game against Clemson on the road in Death Valley is going to be at night again. So are you going to go back to that process again a week later playing Clemson? I mean, that's a problem, too. Florida State doesn't win there very often, and teams, even though Clemson's not been a great team this year, have not been successful either. So we'll definitely see.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And, Jeff, I know you brought it up, and we talked about it a little bit before the show today just to kind of get going. You know, Wake Forest is on a 3-game winning streak right now.
Oh my God. They beat a bunch of mid-ACC teams.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but they have.
And actually, the two losses are actually pretty close. NC State and they lost to somebody by 1, wasn't it? It was a good team, though. Was it
Georgia
Virginia?
Tech.
Oh, it was Georgia Tech.
They lost 30-29 to Georgia Tech, who's undefeated, who's looking like they're going to be in the ACC championship unless they stumble.
And NC State, again, for the second year in a row, is one of the most inconsistent teams in all of college football. Can't figure them out.
I mean, that's true. So, Taylor, this Wake Forest team, I mean, you don't know who you're going to have at quarterback, if they're going to have Robbie Ashford, the former Auburn quarterback, or are they going to have Deshaun Purdy come in and play? You don't know. Are you a little bit worried about this game? Tell the truth.
Yes. Demond Claiborne at running back, he is very, very good. 600 yards of rushing, 8 touchdowns. Good news is Desmond Reed from Pittsburgh had that huge receiving game. He's not much of a receptions guy, but he does also have 17 receptions for 170 yards. I mean, that proves to me that he's probably going to go ahead and have 200 receiving yards against Florida State just because nobody can guard in the flat. That is kind of the problem that Florida State brings to. And, yeah, they beat SMU 13-12, but that game should not have been 13-12. Wake Forest should have absolutely dominated that game.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you. If you look at that game, that was a close game. It looked, it went their way. And then you look at the game against Georgia Tech, it went the other way. And at first, when you said, in which you know me, man, back when they were playing Pittsburgh, I said, there ain't no way Pittsburgh was going to come down to Tallahassee and beat Florida State, and obviously they did. And then I even went another step forward and said, there ain't no way. I don't care if they play at 1 o'clock in the morning. Stanford was not going to beat Florida State, and they did. So, I mean, I was just thinking for sure because Wake Forest has been the butt of most of our jokes when we talked about teams that were going to lose, them in Boston College. And so I'm not so sure that this is going to be it. And I know, Jeffrey, you're not buying Wake Forest at all by the way you're acting, but do you really think that Florida State's going to beat them?
I'll take that 9.5 and take Wake Forest, even if they lose close.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Wake Forest will probably lose this game, but I think it'll be closer to 9.5. In my opinion.
Wow. Do you think that too, Taylor? I mean, do you think this is going to be a knockdown, drag out? Whoever has the ball last might win it?
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't know what's going to be worse, that end of the game, or it's going to be how many fans are going to be booing Mike Norvell in the game. So I don't know what's going to be worse in this game.
Yeah, that could be the problem, and we definitely are going to talk about that at the top of the hour.
Well, let's talk about toxicity. LSU fans are toxic. The Florida State fans, I've seen a lot of toxicity this year, but they really shut up after that third loss. It took 3 losses in a row. They didn't say anything before that Stanford game, and I don't think they thought that they were going to lose to Stanford anyway. But LSU was yelling, "Fire Kelly," this last game. And we didn't lose 4 in a row. We lost 3 out of the last 4 because we beat the Gamecocks. Big whoop-de-doo. But we lost the 3 top 10 teams. We didn't lose to a Pittsburgh or a Virginia or a Stanford, you know? There's a difference there. And, you know, at least the LSU fans are going to hopefully shut up.
Do you think that that's a possibility that the fans, and like I said, we're going to talk about this whole coaching carousel come the top of the hour, but do you think that the fans are, is there a possibility that if Florida State don't come out and blow Wake Forest out, that, you know, if it's close early, do you think the Boo Birds are going to start chiming in Tallahassee?
I don't even think if they beat Wake Forest handily in this game, I still think fans are going to remain the exact same, because that basically tells them in that sense that Florida State is going to cruise through Wake Forest. Let's say they beat Clemson by a touchdown or so. I mean, you go through these games, and let's say you even went out and go 8-4. Are you wanting to put yourself through another year of this inconsistency? Unless he just has it all put together, what are fans really thinking? And I think that's kind of their biggest concern with everything.
Yeah. But when you look at Wake Forest, I mean, they're a team 5-2. Obviously, they have to have some help. You know, they're an up-and-coming team with this record right now, and then thinking that they only lost by, you know, because I didn't look it up. I didn't know that they only lost by 1 point to Georgia Tech. And for me, you've got a hot team that's on a 3-game winning streak. You've got a team that's got to get out of the losing column with Florida State. So, I mean, for both teams, realistically, this is must-win games.
Yeah, and this is going to be a Wake Forest team that if they actually win this game will be 6-2, and they'll be bowl eligible with a new head coach. I mean, this is a team that SMU had won 20 straight ACC conference wins for that point, other than the ACC championship, which they don't count because it's technically postseason and it's in the conference championship. But you look at Wake Forest and how they battled through this game. They had a fumble in the early of the fourth quarter in the red zone. Then they had another fumble in the red zone.
Wow.
And then they ended up having the 50-yard field goal at the end that barely squeaked through, hit the padding on the bottom of the crossbar. I mean, it was just a great thing for Wake Forest. And the biggest thing I look at is their defense. SMU had 3 plays for 9 yards, 4 plays for 6 yards, and 3 plays for 8 yards. I mean, they stopped SMU when they needed it the most.
And that's really where I wonder about this defense, about them gaining momentum, because SMU, they were a playoff team last year. Obviously, they don't look the same as they did last year, but they're still a playoff team from last year. And Wake Forest coming into Tallahassee. And I just wonder, Taylor, do you think the crowd is going to be rambunctious? Do you think they're going to be loud? Do you think they're going to still cheer for their team? Or do you think that this $9, seats are going to be filled, or are they going to be empty?
I mean, I will be cheering them on, but I understand how the fans are going to perceptualize this as well. This is not a great Wake Forest team, even though the record indicates that they are a better team than Florida State. Probably not in betting odds, but I'm saying just in terms of record. But the problem is, if Wake Forest gets up and it's 7-0 early on, these fans are going to be like, oh my gosh, what did I do to myself? What did I bring myself into? And the fans are going to start losing their credibility for this team.
Jeff, when you look at Florida State, do you see a team that this is the teeter-totter game? Like, this is going to be either save this season or not? Like, is that what you're seeing this game as being? Because we're now getting into half almost over, and, you got to make a bowl game. You got Clemson still on the schedule. You got Florida still on the schedule.
Clemson's a teeter-totter game. This is a must-win right here.
This is a must-win.
This is a must-win, yeah. And I haven't changed my stance on that. I've been talking about that for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it's long it's been, because they just had a bye this last weekend. Mm-hmm. You had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, and it's at home. And I won't even talk about Wake Forest being better on the road or anything like that, because they kind of are a little bit, not much, but enough. You know, you can't lose your only 2 games at home like that, like they did. But that's what they did.
Yeah, and that's the key. They do play good away from home, and they're probably telling them, oh, yeah, they got you as the underdog here. They're going to come in, you know, David versus Goliath. You're going to come into big, bad Florida State, and everybody's going to be against you. Everybody's picking against you. You're 9.5 points, and 8.5 wasn't good enough, and they've moved it to 9.5. They don't think you're very good, and they're going to sell them that.
I didn't even think about that, them being a smaller school, because Boston College, Duke, and Wake are probably the 3 smallest in the whole conference of the ACC.
Yes.
Well, Stanford's pretty small, too, I think. But, yeah, it's like that.
So they're gonna. That's what. If I was their coach, I would be putting that in every single day. I would have 9.5 points. I would have 8.5 points everywhere. You could see just to say, hey, they think you guys aren't any good at all.
Yeah, you're not even within 1 score.
Yeah, you're not even within 1 score. You're a terrible football team. The little 3-win game winning streak you're on right now is a nothing. Florida State's lost 3 in a row. And 4 in a row, and they're thinking they're going to turn it around on you.
Yeah,
you know, that's the key. You know, if that was me, that's what I would be doing. And then, you know, for Florida State, I just would be really big in pushing. We've got to win this game. And do you think that Doak Campbell will be full, Taylor, or do you? I mean, like in your heart of hearts, what do you think?
Absolutely not. I think this is going to be a situation where the stadium might be like 60% filled.
Oh, my
I think
gosh.
that's kind of a good indicator of what this is going to be. It's going to be pretty rough, even at night, even in a homecoming game. This is going to be very, very
This is a
rough.
homecoming game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest. Okay, me and Paul have been having this argument for more than a week about top 10 college football coaches. You know, like as far as rank goes, like who's the biggest coaching jobs. And I think I put Florida State at 15th is what I originally did, but I kind of moved them down to 17. Now I'm wondering if they even deserve 17. Seriously.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, I kind of alluded to it this preseason, that their seats in the stadium after the renovation and everything was so expensive to get. I bet you can probably get a chairback seat, probably in the section over there, to get free food and free drinks, probably for very cheap. So if any Florida State fans want to go to Tallahassee this weekend, might be probably your best shot.
Wow.
Might be a good shot at the date for this weekend, Jeffrey. But either way, when we come back, we're going to discuss this coaching carousel that's going on in college football. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get in the game. Call or text us now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Coach James Hale Show.
I played that game at that level, the undisciplined, not playing work, not prepared, and that's what it looked like. I take back everything I said after week 1. I was on them so hard. Since then, and I was right, but since then, they don't give up. Now, people get mad at me.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday evening. As we head into tonight, mostly clear skies and a low of 58 with a light breeze around 7 miles per hour out of the east. For tomorrow morning, a likelihood of thunderstorms and mostly clouds and a temp near 71. In the afternoon and evening, a possibility of thunderstorms and mostly sunshine and a high around 72. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Looking for dependable civil construction in the Florida Panhandle? CBC Construction has you covered. From land clearing and drainage to roads and underground utilities, CBC delivers high-quality work on time and on budget. Locally owned and operated, CBC is trusted by schools, developers, and municipalities.
To learn more, call CBC Construction, 850-740-3815.
Or visit cbcconstruction.com. That's cbcconstruction.com.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City. 717 West 11th Street.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Kings of the Swamp.
Ball's loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
Join Sean Kelly and the rest of the broadcast team as they bring you Gator football all season long.
Quick race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football, the Gator Sports Network from Learfield.
The Florida Gators play here. Listen to select games on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios.
This is Coach Stephen Pearl. Your home for Auburn basketball on the Panhandle is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the most opinionated sports talk show on the Panhandle. This is the Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sound, you know what time it is. It's 5 o'clock right here at the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You made it through another day. It's Tuesday, tomorrow's hump day, so we're pumped up, we're ready to go. We're talking all of this college football season going on right now. Don't forget, we are your spot for Thursday night football, the Ravens versus the lowly Dolphins. Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoffs at 7:15. You know, we're live and local at the CBC Construction Studio here, Jeffrey, and we've been talking a lot about what's been going on with the Florida State Seminoles, and we have Taylor Devers from Chop Chat Norvell Central on the line, as always, on Tuesday. Now, we've been talking about the games. We've been talking about, you know, what's coming up. Wake Forest is coming to town, coming to Tallahassee with a lot of energy, with a lot of winning on their side, and playing against a team that's looking for a victory, that's been in the loss column for all these 4 weeks now. And at some point, there's going to be, I would say, heavy sounds from the fans. And with that, do fans really matter when it comes to your coach?
To a degree, but you can't let those emotions get to the betterment of everybody. The administration's got to do what they got to do to make sure that it's the best possible outcome for the university. Now, the biggest thing there is, too, as you know, I have an Instagram account and a Twitter and also Facebook of Norvell Central. I thought that I was going to be able to probably change that name because, I mean, the writing was on the wall. I mean, you can't lose to Stanford. You can't lose to a true freshman quarterback in Pitt in your home stadium. There's certain aspects that you just cannot excuse, and it comes to a point where, okay, if you're going to do this comprehensive assessment at the end of the year, what good is that going to do when all these names are starting to kind of promote each other? You're seeing the Florida Gators are vying for a $13.5 million contract with Lane Kiffin. There's just a lot of things out there that I think Florida State fans are wanting to say, okay, let's go ahead and get this coaching search started. And I'm not advocating and not having the pitchforks out there, but I do see the writing on the wall, and the fans do speak a lot into it. If the fans aren't invested into the program, they're not buying tickets to go to the game, and you're seeing things in 60% full capacity, that is a problem going forward.
And that's where I wanted to go, because when you look at it, you've got all of these fans saying on Saturday, fire Brian Kelly. Fire Brian Kelly. And you know what? The administration listened. We don't know what happened inside of that room when they were all talking with him and the AD. But I'm telling you, fire Brian Kelly was going off in the ears of the president, of the governor, of the AD, and everybody that was in that room because Brian Kelly hurted himself.
Well, let me tell you, from a source I trust, this is what I was told about LSU football firing head coach Brian Kelly. The powers that be met with Kelly Sunday morning. There was no discussion about assistants. Kelly was told he was out, period. LSU's moving on without him. Kelly's buyout was negotiated down to $27 million, about half of what he was owed. This was done through the violation of morality clauses in his contract. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry met with the LSU Board of Supervisors before Kelly's firing. Landry did not invite LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward to this meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what that is?
What?
That's from the main channel, local channel in Baton Rouge. Jacques Doucette is the sports guy with WAFB.
Wow.
That's more than a trusted source.
Right.
I think it's the ABC affiliate in Baton Rouge.
Right, and he can't just come out and say false stuff like that because they'll get in trouble with the FCC and all that and liabilities.
Yeah. And there's one word in that I can't expand on because liability reasons, and it's the morality clause.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that is the deal. Taylor, when you look at it, they can find a way. And I know Florida State said all of this about, we're going to, give Coach Norvell the season. We're going to stand behind our coach and all of that. But to me, we live in a different era now. We don't live in the old eras. We don't live in the years when we were younger. We don't live in the years when Jeff was younger. We don't live in all that. What we live in now is a show me now, internet style type team, coaches, all of that. And I'm telling you, to me personally, you don't show up as fans for this game this weekend, and that's going to do something, especially if they lose with Mike Norvell. I know they said we're going to continue to the end, but do you think possibly that LSU firing their coach so quickly did not give any kind of hint, didn't give any kind of rumor, and boom, fired him? Do you think that's going to have any tendency to make Mike Norvell's decision stay what it was whenever he lost against Stanford?
Yeah, and I think everybody's kind of looking at that statement that was put out by Florida State with the comprehensive assessment at the end of the year. The problem with that is, I think if Florida State loses to Wake Forest, I think he's fired on the spot.
Wow, so you think he goes?
Situation with that.
You think he goes?
I think there's no way you can go ahead and have this. And you can say we'll wait to the end of the year, but at this point, you've lost the fans, you've lost ticket sales, you've lost problems there, and I wouldn't even put it past them to kind of look into athletic director Michael Alford. I like Alford. I think he's done some great things for the university with the renovations and the football-only facility, and even doing some other things as well with Link Jarrett with the FSU baseball team. I think he's done some great moves, but the problem is if you're not getting it done in the moneymaker of your sport, that's a problem.
Okay, you weren't big on the stadium at the beginning of the year.
No.
And this baseball team is no good. And then basketball, y'all had that one good year. Y'all made, Final 8 or Final 4, something like that?
Yeah.
It was like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where else are y'all winning? I don't see the athletic department doing very well.
Well, I know the softball team has done really well. The baseball team's done well, but the problem is they haven't got to the actual big dance and actually won their side of
Y'all made it to the Final 4. I think y'all lost to, was it Bama, maybe, or Oklahoma? One of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, the thing is, too, with, even going to Corvallis last year for the baseball team, that was still a bit of an issue, too, because that team was very, very talented. And it even goes back to Mike Martin Sr. That was with Florida State baseball before. When you're having over 30 College World Series appearances and you haven't won one, but Coastal Carolina's over here and they've got 8 appearances and they've won 4 titles, it's a problem.
Well, when you've been the worst team in the ACC in the last 2 years, that has something to say because you're supposed to be the top two team in the ACC with being Florida State with what they used to be. And those fans are not happy with mediocre football play because you know as well as I do, football is king in that state, in that college and all of that. Do you think maybe what's happened now with all of these new coaches being fired and all these jobs coming available, if they wait any longer, do you think it's going to hurt their chances on grabbing somebody good? Because you do realize that if you go and grab one of these mediocre, when I say mediocre, mid-level coaches, Billy Napier didn't work out at Florida. You got to have a certain type of coach to come. Norvell was a coach at one of those mid-level teams as well. It hasn't worked out. Yeah, they had the one big season. But when you look at it, do they need a splash hire or do they not need a splash hire? Do they just need a good football coach?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I look at there is, like, if you're waiting to the end of the year to have this comprehensive assessment, you say, I think it's time to fire him. But then you go and hire John Summerall in a group of 5 level. I don't think that's going to pan out for you. And, yeah, I mean, when you're looking at all the available jobs, like the Penn State, the LSUs, the teams like that, I think you're probably a tier below those teams. Even at Florida, I think you're probably neck and neck together. But then you're looking at these other teams out there, and if you're able to get a James Franklin, I think it would be a phenomenal idea. I think Florida State wants Mike Norvell to pan out, and I do think that he is trying to save his job. But it comes where a problem is trying just not enough.
Do you really believe that as of right now that they really are seeing what the future holds as far as what they put on the field on Saturday?
Yeah, and I think it comes to a point where what is the perception in the program? I mean, if you go out there and you beat Wake Forest and you turn around and you won a first conference game, or actually the second conference game in 14 tries, and then you turn around and you beat Clemson on the road in an environment that you only beat them, 2 times in the last 15 years? I mean, that's a big accomplishment. Then you turn around and beat Florida at the end of the year. I mean, there is some positive growth and steps for that, but is it too far too late?
Yeah, see, that's, to me, I'm so glad I'm not a Florida State fan right now because I would be so upset because there's no possible way that anybody that knows anything about football, as far as my opinion, would say that this guy's, he's been there for this long. He's not the guy. I don't understand. How much longer do we need to see what he's putting on the field? He's not the guy. You can bring Gus, you can bring Tony, you can bring all these different coordinators in, but he's not put the team out there, and I don't care what he did at Memphis. I don't care what he did at these small schools. If I was a fan of Florida State, if I was a Seminole through and through, I would be so upset right now that I just don't know if I could even hold myself in because, he can't. I don't care if you go beat a lowly Clemson team. I don't care if you go beat a no-coached Florida team. Like, what? There's nothing left on the schedule to prove. You've proved it the 6 games before. You proved it last year. You proved it the year before, all the years you've already been here. I've seen enough video on Mike Norvell to know whether or not if he was my team's head coach, he's already looking at my end of my shoe because I'm ready to give him the boot.
Yeah, the problem I run into as well with some of those indicators is that next year's schedule does not get any easier for Florida State. They play at Alabama, Clemson at home, NC State at home, SMU at home, Virginia at home, and then you have at Louisville, at Miami, at Pitt, and then you play Notre Dame at home. I mean, that is not an easy schedule for Florida State fans to kind of go through because you thought this was going to be an 8-9 win team this year, especially after you beat Alabama. You thought that was going to be a factor where Florida State was going to grow that confidence. And, you're looking at some of these teams like playing Notre Dame and playing Florida and playing, Clemson and Alabama and Miami and Louisville. That's not an easy task for Florida State to kind of go through, especially with a new head coach.
Right, but they're losing to Stanford, and they're losing to Pitt, and they're losing to Virginia. Yeah, they beat Alabama, but they lost to these other guys, and last year they did the same. And that's my biggest concern is like what are they waiting for? Oh, we're going to stick by the coach and we're going to see what he does for the rest of the year. You don't have anybody left on the schedule that would make me feel any better about the team. It doesn't matter at this point, and that's where I'm coming from.
Well, the portal opens up 5 days after firing. 5 days after firing.
I mean, are these guys good enough to play on the team next year anyway? I mean, you grabbed them from other teams anyway.
Can't stock a whole team. Can't lose the whole team.
He just about stocked the whole team last year. And this year, too.
That schedule next year sounds like this year's schedule, except for SMU and Notre Dame, and you drop off East Texas A&M.
Yeah, and you add Alabama at home.
Yeah, you can just switch where you're playing.
Yeah.
So that's one of them, which is not good. But the Clemson one coming in is better. At least you're playing them at home.
Yeah, because
but
possibly.
You got Louisville too.
Yeah, but you also got to think Dabo might be gone, too. Like, if Florida State is listening, and I know they're not, but if they were listening, they better get in this coaching carousel right now, because if they don't, they might find themselves out, because if Clemson, if Dabo says I'm out, if James Franklin goes somewhere else, I would put all in on James Franklin. I'd bring the president. I would ask President Trump to come over and negotiate a deal to get Mike Norvell out to save us money, or whatever I got to do to try to get me a better coach, because if you don't, you could get behind the 8 ball and you'll get stuck with somebody like Summerall or somebody like Napier, and you'll be even further in the camp.
Well, Chris Melticante, who's a Hurricanes fan, so take it with a grain of salt. He said Golish from South Florida, right? I don't believe that's happening. James Franklin seems like a better fit at Virginia Tech, to be honest with you. I think he's really going to go Virginia Tech. I don't understand why everybody's so high on Summerall. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I'm not all about it. I don't understand why Willie Fritz from Houston is not being entered into any conversation. He did good at Tulane. He's doing good at Houston. They only have one loss right now. But he's on no list. He's not even in the top 21 coaches that are listed best odds for LSU. And guess what? Nick Saban's tied for number 20. I mean, there's no chance for that.
No chance.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, do you get what I'm saying as far as how many more games do we have to watch Mike Norvell coach to let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. I mean, he's done everything that we need to see. It isn't like he's been here for 2 years and we kind of started the team over and started it almost like it's a brand new program. He's been there for 6 years, right?
Yeah, and the problem is Florida State has said that comprehensive assessment is that key word, that buzzword that fans keep looking at. But the problem is, if you're having a comprehensive assessment at the end of the year and you don't know if Mike Norvell's your guy, either he's your guy or he's not your guy. I mean, that comes to a point where you're either all in on Mike Norvell or you're not. There's no sense in saving him for the rest of the year, having to endure these losses for the rest of the year, waste all these fans' time, money, effort, all this stuff for saving, what, $5 million, $6 million?
Right, and that's the key. If it's money, then just come out and say it's money and find the donors and find the people like what.
They can't say that.
I mean, what can they say? They got to say something. And saying we're going to, comprehensive, all this blah, 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 blah. That's all I hear when they say this comprehensive.
Because you know why? People don't want to hear the truth. They don't. They don't want to come out and root for the team that we're just hanging on to the coach to save a little bit of money. We got discount coupons. I mean, come on. You can't say that.
Well, I mean, that's what they did with their tickets. They gave $9 tickets. I mean, you might as well give a big, what's the big gulp at the Circle K for buying a ticket.
Taylor, let me tell you something. I've only seen the Seminoles against LSU in Baton Rouge. Is the only time I've ever seen the Seminoles play. And sure, the chant was pretty, I don't know, it was aggravating. Let's just put it like that. I was going to go to a game last year, and I was eyeing up the North Carolina Tar Heels game because it wasn't the most expensive ticket of the year. And I thought it was a game I would like to see. And then when Florida State went on that slide, I just pretty much just wrote it off. I was not going to go to Tallahassee for a game last year. And I've never been in Doak Campbell. So now we're looking at it this year. Why would somebody who's not even a Florida State fan even go check out what's going on at the closest university to Panama City Beach?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very concerning, you summed it up basically in one sentence. I mean, that's the problem that Florida State's dealing with right now.
So Jack Patterson said, my heart hurts when the Noles lose, but I'm a Nole, win or lose. And then Chris Multiconte said, it's not the money. As an institution, they aren't committed to athletics, period.
Well, what are they?
I don't
Is
know.
it education? Oh, Chris has got to clarify that one. Because, I mean, Florida State's not, I'm not, I don't even go into it.
We put so much effort and resources into football. It's crazy how this product has not been great the last 6 years. Really the last 10. I mean, we've had, 3 winning seasons in 10 years? I mean, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, we're going to go ahead and go to our break. And when we come back, you're going to get my pick for the head football coach for the Florida State Seminoles. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Reach out and smack someone. Call or text now. 850-215-6290. The Red 17 studio line. Have you ever wanted to reach out and smack someone?
You can't fix stupid, but you can divorce it.
The new Sports Blitz. Rants, hot takes, and huge reactions are incoming.
And on behalf of 70% of the Alabama fan base,
Feel the burn.
we want a damn divorce.
The Red 17 studio line.
You cannot give LSU extra opportunities.
850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida.
He has not turned the ball over.
Get in the game.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday evening. As we head into tonight, mostly clear skies and a low of 58 with a light breeze around 7 miles per hour out of the east. For tomorrow morning, a likelihood of thunderstorms and mostly clouds and a temp near 71. In the afternoon and evening, a possibility of thunderstorms and mostly sunshine and a high around 72. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Keep the adventure going this holiday season in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Bill Bird Kia now offering 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus a $500 APR bonus on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento during the big fall savings event going on now. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. It's the best family SUV with third-row seating space, providing extra comfort for the entire family. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia S and LX models. $20.83 per month per 1,000 financed in 48 months. Quantities limited. $500 APR bonus is applied as down payment and no cash value cannot be combined with other finance offers. Not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 11/3/25.
The Kings of the Swamp.
Ball's loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
Join us for the Florida-Georgia game on Saturday, November 1st.
Foot race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football.
Coverage starts Saturday at 2. Kickoff at 2:30. On your spot for the Florida Gators on the Gulf Coast. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. They're number one in the men's room.
I hope this place comes with toilet paper.
The Sports Blitz.
Oh, geez, this is going to be a photo finish.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for all things college, pro, and anything with a ball. Either way, we are pumped up. We've got Taylor Devers on the line. We've got Jeff here, and we've got the Bone Crusher. So we are pumped up, ready to go. But you know what, guys? We got to talk about it. AutoNation Ford, Panama City, they are the place to go. Your vehicle needs to be serviced. Your vehicle needs something to take away the sensor problem. Everybody's got sensors on their vehicle, and it's got codes and all of this stuff. You need to get that taken care of. Take it over to AutoNation Ford, Panama City, 730 West 15th Street. They will take care of you. Get your vehicle right. Clear those sensors off and make sure everything's running good. Also, if your vehicle needs some tender loving care, take it over to Recommended Collision Center on Jinx Avenue. Brandon and the guys, locally owned, locally operated, they do a great and wonderful job. Make sure that you're able to go over there, see those guys. Recommended Collision Center. Our sponsorship of the microphone is KML Hauling. If you've got any kind of debris, if you've got anything that needs to be hauled off, take it. Call these guys, 850-247-5074. Joseph and the guys will take care of you. They're fast, they're local, they're reliable. They're a junk removal service. They also have dumpsters for rental as well. So if you got a project at home and you need a dumpster, call those guys. They will take care of it. 850-247-5074. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Okay, headed to Jacksonville for the annual rivalry on Saturday or just tailgating from home. However you watch the action this weekend, make it count on Hard Rock Bet. Sign up, bet $5 on any college game, and if it wins, you score $150 in bonus bets on top of your winnings. Fire up the grill in the Hard Rock Bet app today so you turn game day into payday. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
PLAY-WISE. They changed it up on us.
Yeah.
But either way, Taylor, so good to have you here. Norvell Central Chop Chat. I know earlier you spoke about having James Franklin. Is that your number one choice? Is that who you want there in Tallahassee?
Yeah, because if Florida State fans want consistency, he's been the most consistent. I think he's the most consistent out of your group. While Lane Kiffin is very exciting, he can also pull up a 5-win, 7-win season that you're not really proud of, and it kind of brings like some head-scratching decisions. But with James Franklin, it's just like, okay, you couldn't beat Ohio State, you couldn't beat Oregon. You know, what's your next step? And I think Florida State fans need that 9 to 10 win consistency that Florida State fans have been starving for the last decade.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I would definitely go with that. If I was a Florida State fan, I would be happy with James Franklin. Jeffrey, who do you, if you were on the board, if you were the president, if you were the athletic director, whoever's making the decision, if you had one person that you could just offer the job and he would accept it at Florida State, who would it be?
I mean, some of the guys don't want the job. I mean, that sounds bad, but,
Yeah.
Why not Drinkwitz? I mean, I don't think...
he doesn't take the Florida job.
What's that?
I could see it if he doesn't take the Florida job.
Wow. Huh.
Now, that's the question. That's the question to ask. Is Missouri a bigger job than Florida State?
It's not a bigger job. Mm-hmm. And you heard it here first. Missouri, I'm not even sure if it's a top 30 job.
Right.
It's probably right around there, though.
He's just done a good job with what he's got, and there is talent that comes out of the state of Missouri.
Only two good things about Missouri. Number one, you're a flagship school. You got nobody in that state that's really even forget about Missouri State. Forget it. It ain't even in the conversation. So you have a lot more competition down here. And then the second thing is you're going to ACC from the SEC. 99% of the people are going to look at that as like a step down, even if you are Florida State.
So my question is, we know that the last time the Florida State Seminoles held up the trophy, we know that whenever the confetti was flying, the person that was holding the trophy is still available. Yeah. Give me Jimbo Fisher coming back to the Seminoles. Don't forget, a couple of weeks ago, he was on the air. He was giving the Florida State chop. He was crying with his tears running down his face. He loves the Seminoles. The Seminoles love him. Everybody understood he took the money. Everybody don't blame him for taking the money at Texas A&M. But get back to the garnet and gold. Give me Jimbo Fisher to take the job. I believe that's the best person for the job. He knows the state. He can win in the ACC. He's proven that. He can not only recruit the state, but he also has the name recognition that he can recruit out of other states and really get it going. So what do you think about that, Taylor? You're a ticket holder. You love Florida State. How about Jimbo? Why is his name not coming up as much?
I think it's just because the sour note that he had. Him as an offensive play caller is definitely not where it needs to be. The problem that we had a lot of times during his era at Florida State was the fact that he was so loyal to his offensive coordinator, his defense coordinator, didn't fire him when there was times where it should have been fireable. It just became a process where Florida State fans were just seeing the same old thing over and over and over again. And when you're looking at that, you're having to factor in what Jimbo meant to this Florida State team. You know, he has those consistent 10-win, 9-win seasons. I mean, you're looking from 2010 to about 2016, he was very consistent. Had no basically wins other than that 9-win season that he had in 2011 and the 2017 year where he was kind of out the door halfway through the year. But whenever he didn't have his quarterback hobbled and actually was doing really well, I know fans talk about all the time, you know, Jimbo was made from Jameis Winston, and that's definitely not true. He actually did really well with Sean McGuire and Clint Trickett. He had other guys that were actually pretty successful in that program. Obviously, you're going to have quarterbacks that don't pan out, but I think overall, though, Jimbo does bring a consistency and does know the landscape of what Florida State brings to the table.
And that's the key with this new era of football, because he wasn't really in this era. So now you don't have to be loyal to your quarterback. If your quarterback isn't who you want, you can go find you one in the portal. If he's not who you want, you can go find you one in the state as a 5-star. You can bring those guys in. And that's where Jimbo, to me, would help Florida State get back to the perennial powerhouse in the ACC that everybody, all the fans, all the alumni want, and that's the biggest thing. So really, you could get Jimbo back, and I think Jimbo would take he would take a lot less money. I think he would come back to familiarity. I think it would be, you know, the marriage all over again. I think it would be, you know, great, because let's just be honest. You're not getting Kiffin, and everybody is waiting on Kiffin. Is Kiffin going to Florida? Is he going to LSU? He's been mentioned at Penn State. But if you go with somebody like a Manny Diaz or an Alex Golish, or you don't really know what you're going to get, you're not getting the splash hire. Even though Jimbo's been there, Jimbo's the splash hire, because it's a makeup story. It's a love story. Jimbo comes back home, and now Jimbo's back, and everybody's going to, you know, whatever. And obviously, time makes the heart grow fonder. So Jimbo's hate from the Florida State faithful, I believe it's gone away. I believe Jimbo comes back. If he can get them back to 8-4, you know, 9-3, 10-2, start doing that kind of stuff, they will love Jimbo. And Jimbo doesn't need all this money. He doesn't need to be the top 10 coach pay in the state, in that, or in college football. And that's why I think Jimbo is the number one hire right now if you go after him.
Is it very glad that we're kind of putting to rest the Deion Sanders thing now at this point? He was down 43-0 at halftime to Utah, and also had negative 17 total yards.
Oh, I thought it was negative 12.
It might be negative 12.
Yeah, negative 12.
Either way, it was negative yardage in the game, which was absolutely incredibly disastrous for that team. And not to say he's got a great quarterback. I'm not saying that it's a great offense. I'm not even suggesting that. But the problem is, when you take away the Shadur Sanders and the Travis Hunters, you're left with that. And his recruiting ability has not been great. Sure, you kind of have the limitations of recruiting in the state of Colorado and going out there, but let's not act like Colorado is not a Power 5 school, that they should be able to bring some of the guys over there. You know, you even got the left tackle over there, Jordan Seaton, who is a 5-star prospect that's over there too. You have talent on that team. It's just they're not putting it all together, and I think Florida State fans are starting to realize, we probably don't need to have him in the fold for head coach.
Yeah, there's no possible way that Deion even coaches after he leaves Colorado. I think he's going to be I think it's going to be a health issue. The boys are already gone. They're doing their own thing. I think it's time for him to come back to the booth and talk somewhere if on interviews and that kind of stuff.
Well, I don't like these players that go straight from just being a player to being a head coach. I mean, it's ridiculous. Even Frank Reich at Stanford, I mean, he's been an assistant coach at a lot of different places. He's a play caller when he was in the pros. I mean, he's got that background, Let me ask you, Matt Rule, he's got to play USC, UCLA, Penn State, and Iowa in the next 4 weeks. I mean, if he finishes 10-2, if he wins all those games, you better believe he's going to be on the top of somebody's list at Nebraska, from Nebraska. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think Penn State would probably be the destination for him if he wants it, obviously.
I think so. Isn't it crazy, though, just to think that in the state of Florida, there's a possibility that Mario Cristobal is going to be the only head coach of the 3 big schools that are there. So if you look at Miami, they had their bye week, and now they're coming back into playing. And, when you talk about this Miami team, this is a big time for them because for recruiting-wise, Florida don't have their guy. Norvell and them are down.
Oh, it's open season.
Open season for Miami. They could start the flipper.
They'll own their own city. Because let's be honest, people have been picking people from the city of Miami for years.
That is true. But, I mean, when you look at it, Miami could be the juggernaut if Mario Cristobal can spurn out these wins, get into the college playoff, win the ACC, beat, if it's going to be Georgia Tech or whoever at this point, beat whoever to get into the playoff, and looking at 11-1, that'd be really good.
Well, so we had a discussion earlier this year about someone saying that Miami would potentially lose to SMU in the preseason, and they're playing SMU this weekend. Basically a wounded animal situation on the road Miami's having to go to. Do you think that has a factor in what Cristobal's looking at? Do you think he's going to have his team prepared for that?
Oh yeah, I see no bump in the road for SMU.
They're only 5-3. It's not that bad. I mean, they lost by 1 point to Wake Forest. Yeah, it'd be crazy if SMU and Clemson were in the ACC championship last year. We might be looking at a Miami possible Georgia Tech, or even a Georgia Tech Louisville, or a Georgia Tech Virginia. There's so many different scenarios that are happening this year, and we could have completely different teams next year in the ACC. This could be a carousel of teams in the ACC championship, and that's not good. Well, I don't think it's good for the conference. It's going to matter whether or not Dabo stays at Clemson or not, and if he can retool, or, because he's one of those guys, too, that you said that about Jimbo, but, for Dabo, he's more of a guy that is more loyal to his players than he is anybody that I've ever seen before, and so even if they're bad. And so when you look at with this team, with Miami, with Georgia Tech, with Virginia, with Louisville, I would say those 4 teams. Are we we're saying Virginia for sure? I mean, oh yeah, they only have 1 loss, and they have tiebreakers on teams, right? And Miami's only lost the 1 game. So actually, Virginia's undefeated in conference. The NC State game was not a conference game, just like you said. Yeah, and I was kind of like in disbelief, but it is true. I looked it up. Yeah. So I just don't know. I don't really understand. Miami has a conference loss, right? Mm-hmm. They lost to Louisville. Yes. So Georgia Tech and Virginia are undefeated in conference. Right. That sounds crazy that they have the inside track right now. Right now they do.
Yeah, have you seen that Virginia schedule? Like California, Wake Forest, Duke, and Virginia Tech.
There you go. Well, there you go. That almost, that could be solidified right there. That could be the only 2 coaches I think that are interim right now, they're going to keep their job, is Petrino at Arkansas and Skipper at UCLA. But that loss that UCLA took to Indiana this last weekend almost makes me doubt that.
You don't think that Rhett Lashley is going to be the coach over there at Arkansas?
No, I think it's Petrino.
Yeah, I think Petrino.
Though I have heard about Lashley that I've heard it. Actually, he's been mentioned about LSU also. So I don't know. Yeah, that's true. We do have a phone call. Arnold, you're on the Sports Blitz. What's going on, Arnold?
Man, has Jimbo bumped his head? The man makes $3,000 a day for waking up and getting out of bed. Why would he want to subject himself to this kind of mental abuse, trying to pacify thousands of those Seminole fans that probably ain't going to be satisfied until they turn back into the criminals instead of the Seminoles? And that's my thought on the whole thing. Y'all have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Mic drop.
But he's got a good point. But I'll play the advocate on this one. It's these guys have this ego. They don't want to sit home and they don't want to just collect money. They want to go be on TV. They want to go be a leader in a locker room. They've coached football their whole entire life. These guys have either coached or played a game that they love so dearly, and they want to be on the field. And Jimbo, if you look at it, he loves the spotlight. Jimbo loved getting into this whole battle with Nick Saban. He loved having his name all over the headlines.
Everybody's head turns towards him in a room.
Yeah, I mean, and they like it.
And players only last, 14, maybe 16 years the most, having that type of situation where everybody knows who you are, where coaches can go further than that.
Yeah, and they love it. The egos are huge. These guys don't quit. They want to be on TV. They want to be on the radio. They want to be everywhere.
Coach O's not coming back just for the money, but it doesn't hurt.
Right, it doesn't, but he's coming back because he wants to be relevant. When these guys aren't relevant, it does something to their psyche, and they want to be in the spotlight. They've been in the spotlight their whole entire life, and so realistically, when you look at it, that's what they want. They want to be there. We're going to go ahead and take Chris from Panama City. Chris, what's going on, buddy?
Paul, LSU, Jeff, how y'all doing today?
Good, man. Doing great.
Good.
Hey, real quick, I don't know if y'all touched on it last week, and I know, Jeff, you're a big baseball guy. Did y'all talk about Tony Vitello going to the Giants at all? Was that brought up at all?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, we did on Wednesday.
I had to sit here and endure.
He can't stand it.
No. It was.
He's not going to last 162 games.
Wow. Wow. You don't think so?
No, I'm saying. He's gonna, dude. Do you know how much of a head case that dude is? How much intensity he has?
Man.
This isn't Lou Piniella and Buck Showalter out there. Like he's gonna lose that locker room. You can't be doing I don't know. Have you ever seen him coach?
Yes,
he's fiery.
That's not gonna last in the big league, especially when you've never even been to minor league. I mean, he barely played in the minor leagues. I mean, he understands pro ball. I played college ball. I never went to the pros, so I'm not going to tell you I've been in a minor league dugout, but I've had buddies that have been in minor league dugouts, and I don't think he's going to last. He's too fiery to be a major. The losses are going to stick with him for so long, unless he changes. He could always change.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get in one of these pro players' faces and scream at them and all that, they allow it to pop you one in the dugout. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree with you. Jeff can't stand the guy.
No.
Well, you said he's too fiery. You said he's too. You called him crazy.
He's a hothead and he likes to talk a lot of trash. And I didn't really appreciate all that.
You know what? I've heard. What's your coach's name?
Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson.
I've heard him talk in press conferences. That dude is a cerebral dude. I'm sure he can be fiery when he needs to. I would much rather have him as a big leaguer manager than Vitello. Vitello is a head coach. Which, there's a difference between being a Major League Baseball manager and a head coach.
Yeah.
And because you got to manage these dudes. These dudes are your kids. And some of them are adults, but they're still your kids. And it's just, I would much rather have Jay Johnson out there talking. I heard him talk before the College World Series. Man, I was very impressed with what he had to say, the stuff he was talking about, the way that they need to go about their business and all this stuff. And I was just really impressed with how, cerebral and how he is being a manager out there. But I just don't think Vitello. I got a buddy that's a coach in the SEC. If you go back, you'll know who he is. But they don't like the dude. I'm just saying he's not well-liked throughout the entire SEC. So it's just one of those things. But it's good for all the other baseball programs, I'd say, because, he's doing great. He was doing great at Tennessee. So
I mean, they're a top 10 program right now.
Yeah.
Now, visit it back in 2 years from now. We'll see if they're top 10.
I mean, they were good. They had random first-round draft picks like Luke Hochevar, and then they made it to the College World Series one time. back in the teens, but they were just intermittently good, throughout that. But with Vitello, they actually were, going to super regionals every year, and College World Series, I think 3 out of 4 years.
Well, they went to the College World Series 23, and they lost 2 games to LSU. So LSU is basically the one that ousted them. And then the next year they end up winning it all. So, I mean, that's pretty huge. I mean, they were they were top final 6, we're going to say, and then they were number 1. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, and listen, Chris, the only reason why Jeff likes to tell this story, because I've heard the story about 3 or 4 times the last couple of weeks now, it's just because of LSU putting them out. That's all he likes to say. He loves saying that.
Well, they were really good.
Thanks for scratching his back.
But that was when Vitello really took it to a whole nother level with his talk, because he's like, we won the SEC. Hear us roar, and then how it all ended, and he shut up in Omaha.
Well, then the one time they made it to the Super Regionals and they get knocked out by Coach Link at Notre Dame before he went to Florida State.
Yep.
And then their pitching coach got thrown out in the same game,
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing you're dealing with. Unless he's Bobby Cox out there getting his troops all fired up by getting thrown out of multiple games,
There could be this chance, though, that if he does become successful, is that going to open the door for more major league teams going to the college ranks and not having any minor league experience and shooting straight to the pros? It's going to be interesting.
Players have been a lot of players.
Well, look at Pat Murphy, though. Pat Murphy got in trouble at Arizona State, came up through the minor league system, and now he's doing a hell of a job with the Brewers. True. They were literally, like that close to being, in the World Series. So, I forget. But then Pat Murphy did it the right way. And I know a lot of guys that had to go through the minors appreciate the fact that people doing their time in the minors, because that's a grind.
Yeah,
you're not getting paid much. You're being schlepped around from team to team. Hell, you're probably brushing your teeth and showering on the bus. Just kidding. You're doing what you do. It's just, I remember my coach, and this was back in the 80s, my coach in high school, his brother was a 30-year draft pick, and he was staying in barns in rookie ball.
Yeah.
Just wherever they could. It's a completely different story now, but it's just like, there's something to be said about doing your time in the minors and spending some time in the minors, because it's a completely different ball game. Anyways.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Chris, we're bumped up against a break, and we appreciate you calling. And, you're exactly right about Tony. I agree. It's going to be curious to see what happens to him. But either way, when we come back, we are going to finish out this talk about the ACC. Is Virginia going to lose this weekend, or is Miami? You're listening to the Sports Blitz, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Text him now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Your home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Coming up on Thursday Night Football, Tua and your Miami Dolphins host the Baltimore Ravens.
Throws caught, touchdown! Malik Washington got the laser!
Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7:15 on your spot for the NFL on the Gulf Coast. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're proud to bring you the most popular cars in the world, like the stylish Camry and the sporty Corolla. Get award-winning style and 1.99% APR on a new Camry, named the best new model by Kelley Blue Book. Plus, you get 90 days until you make your first payment. Curb appeal comes standard on the new Corolla. Designed to wow from the inside out. Get 3.49% APR plus 90 days until your first payment. Panama City Toyota, your Camry and Corolla headquarters.
Offers end November 3rd. Visit PanamaCityToyota.com for details.
That boot store reminds you football weather means colder weather can't be far off. Now's a great time to shop for those winter work coats, shirts, and shoes. Janice and Irene, along with the staff, welcome you to stop by and shop for the whole family at That Boot Store. Remember Joe's motto, always put Jesus first in your life. Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 on Friday and Saturday. That Boot Store, next to Billbird Kia on 15th Street, Panama City.
the kings of the swamp.
Ball's loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
Join us for the Florida-Georgia game on Saturday, November 1st.
Foot race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football.
Coverage starts Saturday at 2. Kickoff at 2:30. On your spot for the Florida Gators on the Gulf Coast. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
If you build it, they will come. We're live from the CBC Construction Studios. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the new Sports Blitz. Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290. The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're so pumped and glad that you're here with us today, whether you're on Facebook, the radio, YouTube, or any other device. We appreciate it. You can call in. You can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. Jeffrey and I are joined with Taylor Devers. We're still talking about Florida State. We're also talking about Virginia, Georgia Tech, Miami, all the ACC. We do have someone on the Red 7T phone line, Jack from Panama City. Jack, are you with me?
Yes, it's me, Jack Patterson.
Hey, buddy. How you doing, man? What's going on?
Doing fine, man. I want to talk about the Norville situation.
Mm-hmm.
You was talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like to me, ever since the snub, it's like ever since we got left out of the playoffs that year, it's like Norville don't really care. It seems like it to me. I don't know what is Tyler think. Is he still online?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you look at a devastating, opportunity that gets snatched away from you. And I guess you can do that, but, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars to put a quality product on the field. And that's to me, yeah, whatever happened, you get snubbed. You're going to get snubbed. It's not the first time. It's not the last time, but you got to, get over the hump. And if that's the case, I don't know. I just don't see that. I don't understand why that would still be lingering. Yeah, we talk about Jordan Travis, from time to time, but still, we got to move on at some point.
Yeah, but I was thinking about what y'all said about Franklin. I wouldn't mind having Franklin if Norville was gone. I think Franklin would be a good pick, I think.
Yeah, no, I think James Franklin, there again, I said Jimbo Fisher. I think all of those guys that's ran a good program, I think they would be good. We only have about 5 minutes left, Jack. We appreciate the call. We're going to go to you, Taylor. When you look at everything that's coming this weekend, you got Virginia playing Cal. Do you see that's a possibility of a loss for Virginia? Do you think Cal is going to be able to pull off the upset? They're 5-3, and it's at Cal. So what do you think?
Yeah, did you see the Virginia-North Carolina game at the end of that game?
Yes, I did.
It was crazy. The fact that they were like a milli-inch away from scoring and making that an 18-17 win for North Carolina. Bill Belichick had that running back in the flat, tries to dive for the pylon, and, it was a photo finish like it was a Kentucky Derby type of situation. But,
yeah.
you got a Virginia team that's going on the road to Cal at a 2:45 kickoff.
Yeah,
not going to be ideal for that team. Yeah.
It's a day game, so I'm not worried about the timing of the game. Cal just lost to Virginia Tech, so I'm not really worried about Cal. To be honest with you, Georgia Tech playing at NC State, and NC State being so up and down, I'm more worried about that game.
Yeah, that can definitely be a little scary because I think that's a team where we all expected NC State to be that type of high-caliber team, and you even talk about with Florida State's schedule, them playing them on the road in November was going to be a big hurdle, and now you're looking at this NC State team where you really don't know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's where I think because of their inconsistency, I believe that's why their coach hasn't been thrown around at any of these larger programs because he's so up and down, even though he has been thought of as a good coach.
But he's also owned the Tar Heels, and that does not hurt in Raleigh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the case that's kept him safe this far, you know, because really they've
always been that red-headed stepchild to the Tar Heels.
But they've always been the Mr. Inconsistency. They'll look like $1 million against somebody that they upset, and then the next following week they look like trash.
I think that they had Phillip Rivers at quarterback, and they had Russell Wilson at 2 different times. That's crazy.
They also had Mike Glennon as well.
Glennon, Mike Glennon was there too. But either way, Taylor, are you thinking that the Seminoles are going to be who has the ball last, or you think there's going to be a field goal?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an ugly 6-point win for Florida State. I just don't think this is a team that thinks it's going to blow out a team or get over a touchdown. I think Florida State does get the needed win that they have, but it's going to come from a sense of a problem for Florida State going forward. What are you going to do with your head coach going forward there? I think that's what the fan base is going to be asking for.
You think about a 27-17? I'm sorry, 23-17?
I think something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to tell me at the beginning of the season, after the Alabama game, that we would be talking about a possibility of losing to Wake Forest at home, I would have told you had bumped your head. But it would not surprise me. This team is not the team, obviously, at the beginning of the season, but I'm not sure where they are in the psyche. It blows my mind. I still cannot get past the fact that they never practiced at night while they were preparing for the Stanford game. It almost seems like the guy wants to lose. That kills me inside. It makes me so mad because you told me that and I didn't know anything about it.
Yep.
And it's just so frustrating. And I applaud you for staying level-headed with this team. I applaud you for still showing up on Saturday because I don't know if I could. You call me fair weather all you want, but I'm really having a hard time with that. And just so you know, I really hope that they win, but I will say this for your sake, because I know you don't want to have to change your name. I know you don't want to have to change Norvell Central, but give me Jimbo Central. That sounds so much better. Or Franklin Central. But either way, I hope that they lose this weekend because I want them to do better than what they've been doing because, man, it's not very good.
All right, I'm picking 27-20. That's a 7-point win for Florida State. They're not going to cover the spread, but they'll get the win. And I think the two-week preparation is going to help out a little bit and maybe turn this game. Well, I don't know, turn the whole season around, but turn at least the 4-game slide away. What do you think, Paul?
I think it's going to be 2017 Florida State. I think they'll be able to win. I think they'll kick a field goal or something at the end. I just don't see this game being a very high-scoring game because I just don't think either team is going to have good offense. I think it's going to be colder. The weather's going to be a little bit of a factor, and we'll see what happens. But either way, Taylor, as always, man, great show. Thank you so much for being with us. Taylor Devers, Norvell Central, Chop Chat. We've had a great day. We'll see you on Hump Day tomorrow. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Read the headlines. You've seen the highlights. Highway robbery! But how about the unfiltered truth?